What's good, kings and queens? Welcome. It's your boy Danny Royce. You already know, Stand Up Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host. What's up, Big Mike?
What's up, y'all? I'm Michael Houston, and we here, Stand Up Podcast.
Stand up. We got amazing guests today for you.
What's up, guys?
Influencer, amazing. Also, a real superhero sitting right here in the studio. Trevor Bell, what's good, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Thanks
Good,
for having
man.
me. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate you. How was your day going?
Well, 6 hours of research, but that's just the day in the life. Man, I just doing what I love. Grateful to be able to do what I love because not all of us get to do that.
Right. For sure. Speaking of what you love, man. So how did you even get started up in this? So I want to start off with your fitness journey because obviously you're a fitness influencer and all that, and you got a great physique. So tell us about how you got into that and what you do to maintain it.
Yeah. So fitness for me, really, I was, I kind of goes back to my childhood. Like I played sports growing up, originally from Texas. Football was life. Literally, like my life. First 15 years, you could describe as like Friday Night Lights, literally.
Yeah.
So I mean, I started working out at an early age. We started like sixth grade. Sixth grade, we started lifting weights where I'm from. And really big into football. And so I really just carried that over in sports, right? Running track, playing basketball, playing football throughout high school, and specifically in college in football. That's really when I learned, I guess, a different level of fitness, right? I mean, I kind of my knowledge. And some of the coaches that I've had the luxury to be with, right? I had to be able to train with Olympic caliber weightlifting coaches and strength conditioning coaches, as well as NFL coaches. And so that kind of really changed my perspective on fitness in general. So I guess overall, to answer your question, it's just really started at a young age, started in sports, and then I carried it on throughout my lifestyle and adopted that in my career now. So,
what sports did you play?
So it's kind of all over, and a lot of people don't know this, but I actually started off in soccer.
Okay.
Soccer was my
the
first
least weightlifting team.
Exactly. I know, that's why it's so ironic. Soccer was my first sport. My dad was actually my soccer coach for like my first 4 or 5 years.
Okay. That's
so I honestly, that was one of my first loves was soccer. The one thing about soccer though is I was so physical in soccer that my parents maybe we should try a different thing, because I was like slot tackling people, pushing people over. They're like, all right, like this is a little much for soccer. Let's try to put them in some football.
Right.
And to be honest, I always loved soccer, but being in Texas, that culture of football, that's
obviously
really what got me in. Right. It's like it's different culture. Like when I was growing up, soccer wasn't the popular sport. It was always football.
Always, yeah.
And for me, it's like, that's really what I wanted. I wanted to be in the culture.
So a lot of places down there, they don't even have a soccer team.
Exactly.
So it's not surprising that you have one.
It's much different nowadays. But back
nowadays,
then, soccer was like, oh, you play what? Oh, what? You mean football?
Right.
Was your dad a fitness nut? Like my dad mentioning soccer being least favorite in Texas. I did bowling in high school.
Oh, really?
My dad played football. One day I came home, he said, Mike. I said, yeah, I know. It's just bowling, Dad. But then I ran track. But is your dad like a fitness?
It's interesting because my dad played football as well. So that was like his culture. He's really big into sports, football, weightlifting. But I think, what happened to him, he actually tore his MCL. He blew up his knee in high school. And I think since then it's been kind of a rocky road. But he's always had this sort of love for football and fitness and always really being concerned about his health. But again, obviously injuries and things like that makes it tough. So he's kind of really instilled that into me, as like growing up. So that's really why, I really developed a passion for sports.
Right. So then you, after college, like what'd you do as far as sports wise?
Yeah, so
did you try to pursue anything?
Yeah, so one of my biggest dreams growing up was actually to be a professional ball player. That was one of my biggest goals growing up, and I did pursue that. That was actually one of the reasons I went to college, was to have that opportunity as well, as along with education, obviously. So, funny story. 2 years, junior, senior year of college, I started taking it very, very seriously. I had an NFL agent reach out to me, and I was touring, going to different combines while I was in college as a free agent, and had a lot of really good opportunities. And it was tough though, because I feel like coming out of college at especially a school like Columbia, which is Ivy League, it's not very often that a college athlete comes out of there and goes to the professional level, right? Because it's D1, but it's not at the same caliber as like a D1 Alabama or D1 LSU. It's D1 AA, right? So it's a different level of sports, right? So it's much harder to find athletes of that caliber going to the league often. So for me, it was kind of fighting that uphill battle of expectations. Like people were like, "Well, Trevor, you're going to an Ivy League. You should just get a corporate job and make 6 figures and be happy." And for me, it's like I've never been the guy to settle into a mold ever. Like if there's something that I want to do, I'm doing it. And if it doesn't fit that mold, that's okay. We're making a new mold, right? And so for me, that's what I did. Ignoring all good advice from my parents and friends and peers, and it worked out well. I eventually got a workout with the Jets. So I had a private workout with the Jets, the Texans, the Raiders, and just flying around. Instead of going to class, obviously, I was flying around and doing the different combines. It's doing pretty well, but ultimately, I didn't end up getting a spot. What I did get though is I ended up getting a CFL offer from the Stampeders as well as a couple of the CFL teams, and to be honest, talk numbers, it was like $90K, and for me, $90K, considering all the risks that you take playing a sport like football, like it's a lot. Right. And so that was the point where I opted in to hang up the cleats at that point and pursue a career in corporate. So that was such a tough point in my life too, because you got to think your whole like 15 years before that, I was like, NFL. I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to work my butt off. Go to the NFL. And then at a certain point, there comes this moment of realization where it's like, okay, I can continue to pursue it and possibly get there, or I can make a new path. Right. And that's the moment where I decided to make a new path. And to me, that was a low point, but it actually, crazy enough, ended up leading me to the highest points in my life too. Yeah. No, it's crazy because especially when we talk about the Black community, it's. I started as an athlete when I was like in 3rd grade. So what is that, like 5, 6? Yeah. And so throughout high school, throughout college, all that. And then when it came to really jumping into that, choose another path. But there's a lot of people, right, that get thrown into the ball like as a way of escapism, especially within the Black community. 100%. Talk a little bit about that. And did you like have any peers, or did your dad go through something like that? Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I was blessed growing up. I had a lot of opportunity, but I wasn't naive to what was around me, and the culture around me really used sports as the way out. Sports in a small town environment, especially a Black community, is the way out. Right? That's your access to get to the next level, because let's be real, like there's not a ton of opportunities, for sometimes people like us, especially in certain environments, to go to college, especially go to college paid for, right, for free, right? Academic scholarships can be extremely hard to get, especially if the education system's not that good, right? So what it was for me was like realizing that was a point for me, and realizing how important it was for people. So, me playing football really was a twofold. It was one, that this is my ticket out, and I had that in the back of my mind, but it was also like, I can use this to also elevate my life in a sense of like, I don't have to just rely on sports. I can also rely on my academics. And I think that that's something that, while that's the culture of it, I wasn't really trying to play to that mold. I was trying to be able to do both. I wanted to be able to like go to school for academics as well as the sports side for me. But I obviously am sympathetic to that. That is the ticket out for a lot of people. For sure. Yeah,
so after your journey, NFL, CFL, all that stuff. Yeah. You in New York. Yeah. Your fitness journey really skyrocketed. Yeah. In New York. What was the catalyst for that, especially after the whole corporate thing and stuff?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the fitness journey really, for me, I'll be honest, after me hanging up my cleats, I really kind of fell off at that point. And I don't really talk about this that often, but I really kind of let fitness take a back seat and kind of settled into corporate environment. And that's when I felt probably the most lost. For me, it was about a year in where I felt that something wasn't right in corporate environment. It just didn't feel like it. It's hard to explain. It's like when you do something every day and you just don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel like you're utilizing like your talents and things that that you're naturally good at, right? It's like when you're doing something and all you can think about is something else, like you're not in the right space. And that's what I found myself. I found myself missing something, kind of like a hole that I was trying to fill in the corporate environment. And I think that was in part fitness, but also in part just entertainment and competing. And that's like some of the parts of fitness that I really loved. And I think that's something I'm missing. And so that's when I started going into fitness and using social media as an outlet for my fitness, right? While I was in corporate. So then my schedule, funny enough, came from 9 to 5 working in corporate to 5 to basically midnight or longer doing fitness and social media, which really started as like a journey and an outlet, right? That's how that I built my social media in the beginning. It really was like, it wasn't the intention necessarily like, let me blow up right now. This versus like me just documenting and having like an outlet for something that I lost. And I felt the longing to kind of relive.
Got you. It was a creative outlet.
You was one of the first ones that I think I remember in terms of like fitness and really hopping on that wave.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. How was that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I after doing it for a while, maybe like a couple months in, that's when I started noticing there was some traction on social media, which kind of struck me to do some research. And it was actually a specific article that I remember reading while I was working in corporate and doing social media part-time, was that, I think it was Business Insider actually, and it was like showing the top 10 fitness influencers and how much they made. And this is the time when TikTok didn't exist, that it was really just Instagram, right? Really just pictures. I don't think Instagram had videos at the time. And I was looking and it was like 6-7 figures. And I'm like, you telling me you got these fitness influencers out here posting pictures making over $1 million a year? And like that to me really struck out to me, because then I really started reverse engineering people, right? Like really started like dissecting, like, all right, how are you making $1 million? Like, how are you making $1 million doing fitness stuff? And then I looked at some of these guys and they had very similar stories to me, like ex-athlete, former football player, former track athlete, started posting a little bit of, tips they learned, and then they got a sponsorship with Gymshark, and then they're on Nike. I'm like, all right, wait a minute. Like, I'm clearly missing something here, because like this is very similar. I can do that. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can do this. This is different. So that's when I really started kind of taking it more seriously, researching, and actually like putting more deliberate plans around my social media, like really understanding Web 2, and understanding marketing and consumer behavior, and really sort of taking it from like a more like research focused approach, as opposed to just like shooting in the dark and hoping something sticks.
Oh yeah, it's a damn science, bro.
It is, and especially back then, it was such a new. Now it seems like everybody, everybody
wants to help you.
Everybody knows what they're doing now, right? But back then, it's like we didn't have all these resources. We didn't know all the best hashtags. We didn't know about short form video. Right. We didn't know about thumbnail. Like, a lot of that stuff that's all new. You know what I'm saying? Like that was information that we did not have. We were shooting in the dark back in the day.
Just hoping some stick. Well, what started the superhero videos? Because I love me some Marvel, I love me some DC. That's actually, I think, when I first saw one of your videos. Tell us about the first one you did and how that was for you.
Yeah, so where did superheroes go into fitness? How does somebody go from fitness to all of a sudden dressing up in tight spandex around the city? So basically what happened was, I was doing fitness content and really loved it. And I thought to myself, what am I doing that's different from everybody else? How am I really making an impact? Like, what about this is like unique to me? And what I found is that I was really just kind of playing into the culture. I felt like when I was doing fitness, it was working, it was kind of sticking, but I was really just kind of copying. Because like I said, I read that Business Insider article. I was like, I can do that. So that's what I did. I did that. And it started working. And I was like, all right, like this is cool. Like I'm doing what everybody else is doing. I'm getting little brand deals, cool, but it's not fulfilling. I don't feel like this is really, I'm owning it yet. And that's when I came across mentors like Gary Vee, right? That's when I came across mentors like Tony Robbins and things like that. And so, doing some research on these guys, it really kind of taught me to own my uniqueness, right? And then what I decided to do from there is like, what if I really put in more of my actual personality into my fitness content? And for me, what does that mean? that means like really putting my passions, and I've always had a passion for superheroes and things like that. So it was like kind of like, what if I started showing people a little more of what I like, and trying to find a way to blend all those things, right? Like, so that's really how I got into it and how I tested it. But the real funny thing is, when I was doing fitness content, I think I was on Pinterest, like looking up some content and things, ideas, and I saw this black guy in a Spider-Man suit, and I thought to myself, that's really, really cool. He was at like a Comic-Con convention or something like that, like, you know, had the glasses and the comic on. I was like, that's cool, but like, what if I did that as like a fitness, and like, what if I combined fitness with that? Like what if I like, you know, did that and changed that? And then I thought to myself, that could be cool. So I did some research, and I started looking for Spider-Man suits, and, you know, I found the ones, you know, the little ones you slip on. It's like $20 on Amazon or something like that. And then I kept doing a little research, and I found this one suit from this random company in Thailand. Random company in Thailand. It was like $800. Get me. So me at the time, I was like, that's a lot of money for a Spider-Man suit. But it was a literal movie replica. And I was like, what? And this is the time where I'm risk taking. Like, I don't care at this point. So I thought to myself, like, what if I like scoop this costume? And I talked to my boys about it, my roommates at the time, and they were like, Trevor, you are freaking crazy. You are out of your damn mind if you think you're about to spend $800 on a costume. And and myself in the time, you know, I was just very like risk tolerant. Like, I really was just risk tolerant. I think that this is another important topic, is like having the stability of the job allowed me to be risk tolerant in my passion, in my part-time. And I feel like that's often the kind of mistake a lot of people make, is, you know, when you just doing your passion, it's hard to be risk tolerant because that's all you're relying on. So at the time, having the job allowed me to be a little more risk tolerant, take some more risk. And so, yeah, I went ahead and bought the suit. I bought the suit, and it came in, and I remember being so happy because I had waited like a month for this suit because it was custom made all the way from Thailand. It came in this big box, opened it up, looked at it, and I was astounded. I was shocked. Like I picked up the suit, and I remember feeling the texture of the suit, and just feeling like the raised webbing on the Spider-Man suit, and be like, oh nah, this is some difference. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ever like touch like a real authentic suit spot? Like,
this ain't no Spirit.
This ain't no Spirit Halloween. Like, this is some real like stuff. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. And then I thought to myself, like, no way it's gonna fit. Like, imagine if this fits. Like, this is crazy. So I'm like super excited. Like, I'm calling my roommate, come in here, bro. Look at this suit, man. This thing is crazy. And then I put the suit on, and then I looked in the mirror, and I'll be honest, like, that's when everything clicked for me. It's weird to say how cliche it is, but when you have a moment, but when I put on that suit and looked in the mirror, I literally recognized that moment. I seen it, and I was like, this is fitted. This is legit. Like, I'm legit. This is looking like legit superhero right here. Like, this is crazy. And then it was at that moment where I started creating content immediately. I was like, I think I went to a grocery store in the suit. Like that same day, and I was like getting content, and that's when it kind of took off from there. And I never really looked back from that moment. It's really just taking that risk on that suit on something that was like nobody really was doing, and it worked out well, man. And I never looked back, and that's what really made me lean into like owning my uniqueness and not being afraid to bridge in all your different passions and interests, because though as much as sometimes we think those are negative, sometimes like people are going to think I'm weird. Those are actually doing the opposite. Those are actually the things that end up elevating you and separating you no matter what industry you're in, right? Because we all have unique interests. We all have unique passions. They're very different from each other. It's like the one thing about social media that I feel like is keeping people down is like, it's the comparison. It's constantly comparing. It's constantly thinking like, I need to do what that person's doing to be on. I need to do what this person's doing to be on. It's like, well, no, that person's already doing it. That content already exists. Like, the only person you can be is yourself, right? The best person being you is you. So why don't you do that? Right. And so for me, it's like that really ironed in that concept for me, and that's what I kept leaning into. And I found that every time I leaned into that more, and trust that. The content, the videos, the pictures, everything, all that's all secondary. It's all a product of the way of thinking.
So Flash, Superman, Sonic, who's gonna win?
Flash.
Okay.
Flash for sure.
I just wanted to make sure. We heard it here first.
I will say Superman will
Superman
might have. It depends how the race goes, but Superman might have little tricks up his sleeve. Might have a little something.
I'll give you that.
As
far as pure speed, Flash got him.
For sure.
All right, so before we get hit on to our next segment real quick, I just want to touch on two quick things.
Let's do it.
So how did social media change your life? You have a beautiful family. You know, how did it change your life? And tell us what influencers really make.
Okay, that's the real nitty-gritty, right? Okay, so in short, I think social media changed my life, and it brought to life the concept that you can monetize anything, right? You can, any passion you have, any interest you have, it is possible to monetize that, right? Through social media, a form of technology, right? Anytime technology comes around, it revolutionized industries. And social media was one that was so powerful that it revolutionized the way we monetize, the way we make money and interact with each other. And I think, to me, social media overall lesson taught me, like, you can do anything you want. You know, it's like, before it was cliche.
Right.
Before, you can do anything you want. Yeah, that's cool. I got to go to college. I got to do that. That's anything I want. Yeah. No, you can literally do anything you want. It doesn't matter if you're basket weaving. It doesn't matter if you're freaking painting on shoes, designing shirts, making jewelry.
So much.
Literally cleaning windows. Right. I know somebody who makes $20K a month cleaning windows. Yeah. And it's not from cleaning windows, it's from posting videos about cleaning windows. He's making aesthetic videos. You can literally do anything, bro.
Yeah,
you can literally do anything. And that is what social media taught me. It's never been a better time to do anything, to monetize anything you want, right? And so that's what social media taught me overall. And in terms of like money, this is a crazy conversation, but money's insane, bro. The money's insane. I would say I won't go into necessarily details about mine, because I know a lot of people will be watching this and be interesting. I don't want to like rub any shoulders wrong, but I will give you some numbers. I mean, if you're looking at Instagram versus TikTok, right? If you say if you have 100,000 followers on TikTok, I mean, I know a lot of friends with 100,000 to 200,000 followers that are making like 5 to 10K a month. Just that 100, 200K. Don't get it started by people that have millions, right? Like, you have millions on Instagram, depending on what industry, because every industry is different. It's like, if you're in fashion, it's much different from fitness. If you're in fitness, it's much different from another industry,
like food or industry,
food,
hospitality,
something like that, hospitality. Like, all these differences pay different, and the structure of payment is different as well for influencers, right? Because like, when you first start as a content creator, a lot of times you're doing free trade, right? Like, you're getting product and you're posting it, right? And it's cool. You get a little discount code. That's how you start off. And then you get like, $500 to $1,000 per post, things like that. And it slowly goes up. But it just really depends on so many different factors, right? Whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on YouTube. And to be honest, each platform pays different. Yeah. And one thing that's happening now that's crazy, and the reason I love TikTok so much, is TikTok has made it to where even short form creators, right? Because before it was just YouTube that got paid off monetization, right? You post a YouTube video, it doesn't matter if it's a brand deal or not, you'll get paid off of it, right? Now, TikTok's following suit with short videos. So I could just post, I could not get a brand deal. I could just post videos on my TikTok and get a check from TikTok once a month. Just post some videos. Nice. Check TikTok once a month. Same with Instagram. Instagram's copying suit. So it's pretty amazing, and we can go into detail if you want, but it goes all over. I mean, I'll give you some numbers for myself a little bit. It's like the most I've gotten paid for a single TikTok video, I would say, is around like $25K.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right.
That's like the high.
What's gonna happen is stay tuned for an after show where we talk details of
right.
Talk
all
shop.
Right, but Michael, do you have a current thing to?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna head on to the current event real quick.
Yep.
Elon Musk.
Oh, there we go.
Over 40% allegedly. Yep. Once he acquires Twitter, he will be slashing over 40% of the employees at Twitter.
I think that makes sense.
Interesting. Why is that?
I think oftentimes in organizations like that, they don't trim the fat a lot, I'll be honest. And I also think that specifically with an organization like Twitter, I gotta be careful how I go about saying this.
Right.
Specifically with an organization like Twitter, I think that ever since the original founders, Dorsey, stepped down, I think that oftentimes when the original founders leave, a lot of bureaucratic space comes in. Like, a lot of excess comes in, a lot of like things. Because when you're running as a startup, you're real lean. You're real lean. And I think that sometimes that side gets lost, especially when founders leave. And I think that bringing somebody like an Elon, who is definitely mastered, I would argue, more than most people, has mastered the art of kind of staying lean, staying in that sort of like kind hyper growth phase, as he's done with a lot of his companies, specifically the Boring Company, Tesla, you name it. I think that he could bring that back in, and I think that comes with like trimming a lot of fat, running leaner, and really like taking a lot of those wasted resources and using it for something that can really elevate and keep pushing Twitter forward to the future, right? Because I think Twitter has a very unique opportunity to revolutionize social media. Web 2, but most importantly, Web 3. I think Twitter is going to be the unlock of Web 3. If you talk about crypto conversations and NFTs and so forth, I think that culture is brewing on Twitter. And the problem that I think that's happening in the Web 3 a lot is like it's been kind of capped by Twitter as well, because I don't think that Twitter is bringing forth technology that allows for to carry the conversation forward of Web 3. I think they could be doing a lot more.
Could the caveat be with Elon?
Yeah, what's the caveat?
He's obviously a master thinker. He's a very forward thinker. But we was just talking about pre-show with VFX artists, their jobs being potentially taken away by AI. Could we see that with Twitter to some degree, especially in the Web3 space where, people, Terminator 2, Judgment Day is coming. And, iRobot, these things. Could that be the caveat?
Yeah, I 100%. And I think it's funny because even Elon said it himself. I think there's quotes of Elon saying that how dangerous AI can be. And let's be honest, that's with everything. People said the same thing about social media. Social media is dangerous. Like people say anything about Uber. You're getting in the car with a random stranger. People are all, as technology progresses, there's always going to be the double-edged sword. There's always going to be the part where people are saying this is dangerous. What are you doing, right? And there's also the part where like, okay, yeah, but like, look at what you can do with it on the positive side. So I think technology making it more of a general conversation, I think technology really just enhances human behavior more than it necessarily like all of a sudden is like a negative thing. I don't think it's negative in itself as much as it's just enhancing things that already exist.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, double-edged sword. You can use it for good. You can use it for to put people down, to shame, to troll, to compare.
We did actually that Google employee. I don't want to step on no toes. No, but he did say, one of the AI became sentient.
Really?
He got
that's
fired.
A little scary.
He literally said, and he got fired.
Well, I mean, AI out here rapping. You got our AI rapper. They got the first.
AI influencers. I don't think people realize. Even just me today, I spent 7 hours. I don't take 7 hours of my day just doing anything. And I spent 7 hours today already just researching AI generated art because it's getting absurd how much power AI is having. It's making leaps and bounds. Like it's crazy. Every day, even tomorrow, there might be an update where AI gets crazy.
Oh yeah. They're going to be controlling all the cars.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to be, everything. But
100%.
All right, so I want to move on real quick to our segment of Did You Know? So I want to talk about just Sanford Greene real quick, an amazing Black comic book artist. He's been in the game for over 20 years. And for virtually all the major publishers like, Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, known for his raw, gritty line work. And Greene has brought breathtaking interior art and covers to life with widespread critical acclaim. He teams up with David F. Walker to relaunch Iron Fist for Marvel, Power Man, Iron Man back in 2016. And so he just got reunited in 2019 to launch the Image Comics ongoing series Bitterroot. So it's about this family who hunts down monsters that are threatening the world in Harlem, New York. Nice. So definitely shout out to
Harlem, New York.
Sanford Greene. Yes.
Oh, that's fire.
So it's a lot of awesome Black comic book artists out there that don't really get the recognition that they deserve. A lot that helped with Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby and them. So I'm a huge comic book fan. So I just wanted to definitely highlight that. So I got to ask 100%. You, DC or Marvel?
Oh my God, you asked me the hardest question.
I know it is hard. You gotta give us the answer. You gotta give us the answer.
We know the answer.
Okay, DC or Marvel? Okay, so that's a very loaded question. Okay, so I'll put it this way. You're probably gonna hate me for this. So I think DC has some insane potential right now. I think there's a huge difference. Like I think Marvel parlays more towards Disney. And the filtration of Disney and what that means. So you're seeing in Marvel, you're seeing a lot of traditional superheroes in terms of moral values, right? But the one thing about DC that I think is an opportunity that they may or may not take advantage of, but I'm hoping they do, is that they have very layered characters that have more human type qualities to them.
Dark.
It makes them more complex, right?
Yeah,
Dark,
exactly.
dark. So if anybody
Marvel.
that watches, like old school animations for DC, those are dark.
Batman.
Those
Amazing.
are dark.
Batman
Those
Beyond?
are almost eerie, scary.
Yeah.
Now, imagine a world where they create those in live action.
Right.
Like that to me is a whole different opportunity that Marvel's not in the space of.
Yeah.
So to me, DC, if it was to incorporate more of those darker stories and not be afraid to tap into that essence and make these more multi-layered, not so perfect characters that have flaws and desires and passion. It's like that, I think, has a lot of potential and I think could be the future. And one of the reasons why I would lean towards DC. However, Marvel has done a fantastic job of setting up storylines over long periods of time that lead to these amazing climax that you've seen with Avengers, and they have some really good like story and writers. Some amazing writers, some amazing directors. And so this is the thing is like, when people ask me like Marvel or DC, it's like, well, this is a hard conversation because like, well, Marvel is good at storytelling on film, but DC has some of the best intricate, multi-layered stories,
characters,
right? And if they could bring that to light, they really could be the best. But right now, if I had to pick right now, straight on film, if you're just gonna film, I have to pick Marvel.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at storytelling from like what's in the comics, what's the animated versus what's already been on the big screen, DC.
Yeah.
Marvel is now with Punisher and Daredevil. Well, before
they're
the move
trying
from
to tap
Netflix,
into it, right?
No.
Before the move from Netflix,
but we gotta remember that who owns Marvel? Disney owns Marvel, so
that's the
they're
thing.
not gonna.
So they have this filter
gonna,
almost.
Yeah, they're not gonna show it
until we see this new reiteration of Daredevil. Then we can see. Now, hopefully, if they bring back Punisher, because Punisher was dark.
Punisher was dark.
Punisher was
good.
We'll see how Blade goes too, because Blade is
even Venom. Even Venom was a little
But
sinister.
Venom was Sony.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's a little different. The whole Sony Marvel thing.
Exactly. We don't even want to go there. Do our last segment. Here we go. Stand up. All right, it's gonna be really quick. It's 4 questions, a multiple choice. Okay. Being that today's theme, we're talking about superheroes and whatnot, which Black Adam was dope as hell. But
shout out Black Adam. Shout out The Rock. I was at that world premiere. That was insane. Meeting The Rock in person was like meeting a moving mountain.
You're moving mountain, right? Just like. All
right, what he said to me?
What did he say?
So I'm sitting at the premiere, second row, right? He does his presentation, walks over, and then here I am, like, gonna meet one of my all-time idols, right?
Yes.
For me, it's like, I love The Rock for several reasons, because not only can I relate to the story, but it's like the discipline he represents. It's his ability to transcend industries with his brand, right? He takes his brand and he dips it in so many different areas, and everybody understands what The Rock means, and when he's translating, right? It's discipline, it's motivation, it's strength, right? And so I'm there, I'm standing, he's walking past, and he looks at me up and down, it's real slow, and says, "You're a little too big for that shirt, don't you think?" And I said, "Man, if you don't stop with your tight ass red suit on." But that. It's crazy because that was the first moment it happened. It really put in perspective. It's like, man, this dude is really who he says he is. It's not. He's authentic all the time. He's always that person. Literally. And I think that's what is inspiration about him, is that it's being able to tap in and be that authentic person all the time, because it's hard to be that person.
It is.
When you're always driven to do something, it's hard to stay in your authenticity, but the greatest always do.
Yes, that is so true. Man, I love The Rock. I've been a fan since, like, man.
If you smell,
I did my first school report on The Rock, and it was when I was like, I think in 2nd grade.
Oh, wow. OG.
Rocky Maivia Johnson. All right.
That's awesome.
Here we go. First question. What African country is Nakia operating in as a spy before T'Challa arrived and brought her back to Wakanda? This is multiple choice.
Okay,
don't worry. Kenya, Nigeria, or Ghana?
Nigeria.
Hey, there you go.
I'm Nigerian. That's the only reason I said that.
All right. Who is Raymond Palmer's alter ego?
Oh, I don't get multiple choice on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you this. I just
I was like,
you were going like you knew it already. So
no, I was thinking, I was like, all right, here we go.
All right, the Atom, Ant-Man, or the Basher.
Wait. Wait. Say the name again. What's his name again?
Raymond Palmer.
Is that the white guy? Adam.
The Atom, yes.
Yeah,
Adam. Okay.
Yeah, that was the white guy from Adam. Yeah.
That is correct. All right. And speaking of big boulders, and
yeah,
rocks,
I know, right?
Who can calm the Hulk?
Who can calm the Hulk?
Who can calm the Hulk?
I don't think you need a multiple choice.
I don't think you need one either.
Well, it depends.
I was gonna say like I feel
depends.
like multiple people can.
Okay, but who can really calm? All right, here we go. Ready? She-Hulk, Betty Ross, or you don't got it? You don't got it?
I don't think I know this.
You don't know this one?
I don't think I do.
Betty.
I don't think I knew
Betty Ross. That was his first.
First love.
Yeah.
See, that was a long time for me. I'm not really hip on Hulk like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
All right, last but not least, I know you got this one.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Who played Harley Quinn in Batman?
What's her name? The same girl that's in Wolf of Wall Street. What's her name?
Australian.
I know. I actually like her a lot. She's such a good actor.
Starts with an M.
Yeah,
you got it almost.
I can't think of her name.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah,
you got it. I'll give you that.
I know.
I'll give you 3.
Wolf of Wall Street. Like she's in so many good. She's a good actor.
She is a great actor.
She's a crazy good actor. But you know, I'm just actually really bad with actor names.
Yeah,
like notoriously bad. Yeah, because like there's like, oh my god, there's so many actors, and I know actors by the characters they play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, that's Batman. Yeah. Oh, that's Batman 1. Oh, that's
right,
Batman
that's Batman 2.
That's 007
that's
4.
The Batman, right? Michael Keaton.
Exactly, bro.
Well, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Real quick before we go, who's your next superhero?
I might have to cut here because I got to think about this one. Hold on. Oh, wow. That is a good question. Who is like really sticking out to me right now?
Who you gonna hit the fans with next?
You know, I've really been toying with Black Adam or a couple. There's Black Adam that I've been toying with. Obviously, there's Kid Flash. I've been toying with a lot. People don't really know that. And there's another Aqualad.
Aqualad. Oh shit!
Because like these are characters that I don't think have been developed yet.
Right.
That I think that like as a black cosplayer, I can shine a little light to.
Especially Aqualad.
Yeah, because he's a boss.
He's cold.
He's a boss, right?
And
I'm like, that's one that I personally identify with, and I think that bringing some light to that character, who knows? Maybe you see some big screens played by some people we know.
Exactly.
Young Justice was dope.
Blue Marvel, let's go.
There's
so many black superheroes out there that need some story.
They need some story time. They need somebody to play them on the big screen. So you know, we gotta keep our eyes open.
Right here. There we go. Keep your eyes open. We're not saying anything. But thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure having you. Tell everyone where to find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Trevor Bell or Trevor Bell _ You type that in, you'll find me. Big, bright yellow photo. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Oh,
awesome. Mike, Big Mike.
Yeah, you can find me at Life with Mike, life.with.mike on Instagram, TikTok. I'm still working on that. But I do want to challenge you on Flash because I see you was in, I think, Long Beach or Venice Beach, and I used to run track, so we gotta. I don't think anyone beat you yet.
Nobody.
Okay, well that'll be me. So we will see that.
Wait. Nobody without a head start. I gave somebody like a 30-yard head start once, and they tied me.
Well, you gotta get a uniform too, Mike. You can't.
Oh, that's no problem.
Yeah,
I don't know who you gonna beat out. And you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce. Be sure to follow us at the Stand Up Podcast. Thank you again. It's been a great conversation.
Pleasure.
Trevor, we'll see you next time. Stay tuned. Stay blessed.
See you guys soon. Outro.